All right, so what we have is converting notes, okay? We're going to be converting both fractions into decimals and decimals into fractions, okay? We have done this before for level 2, okay? And now level 3 just ties into a certain kind of small grouping of problems, but they're going to be intermixed, so you won't be able to really tell too much of a difference for the most part. You can see this is converting fractions and decimals, the second one converting terminating decimals, and the third repeating decimals. Okay, so we're just going to kind of skip around, do a couple, and then you're going to get a chance to work on some of your own before then checking them in class. Okay, so very simple, converting fractions into decimals, you need to use long division. Okay, now if you know the answer, you don't need to go through the whole process. Okay, but let's just assume you don't know the answer. So you need to go through the process, okay? 3 over 10 is 3 divided by 10, so 10 is going into the 3. So we'll have something like this, okay? 10 does not go into 3, so that's where we add our 0 and our decimal. And then 10 goes into 33 times. We multiply and subtract, and that's our answer, 0.3. Okay, that's all there is to it, 0.3. Problem solved. Okay, it's a terminating decimal. Now, some of us might remember that if something is divided by 10, it's going to be in the tens place, because going backwards, which we'll get to in the next example, is if something's in the tens place, it's divided by 10. Okay, so some of us might know that right away. Okay, and we can also use that knowledge to kind of modify other problems, like in number or letter B, you could change this to something to get a similar answer. Okay, but let's just assume we don't know that for now. Okay, let's do C. Actually, let's do H, because we have more room. Okay, so for H here, dividing 8 going into 3, so 8's on the outside. Okay, 8 does not go into 3, so we're going to add our 0 and our decimal again. Now, you'll know you're going to add a 0 and decimal right away if your top number is smaller than your bottom number, which in this case all of them are. So we're not going to have like 1 point anything, 2 point anything, 0 point stuff. Okay, you always know that if your top number is smaller than your bottom, it's going to start with a 0. So 8 goes into 33 times, multiply, subtract. So I'm going to get 24. Okay, we subtract, we get a 6. We bring down a 0. And then 8 going into 60. Okay, well, if you don't know what it is, you just got to kind of start guessing. Okay, you should know that 8 times 8 is 64. So that's too high, so we're going to go 7. And then we do 7 times 8, and we get 56. Okay, subtract, we get a 4. We bring down a 0 again. And then 8 goes into 45 times. Okay, and then one more time, multiply, subtract. And that's our answer. We get a 0. Okay, so this one is 0.375. If you ever get past 3 decimal places, that means you messed up. Okay, don't go past 3 decimal places. That's my answer. Okay. Any point, obviously just pause the video if you need to. And let's do F. Okay, so 3 going into 2. So 3's on the outside. Again, does not go into 2, so we'll add our 0 and our decimal. Okay, and then 3 goes into 26 times. Multiply, subtract. So 3 times 8 is 16, or 3 times 6 is 18, sorry. Subtract, we get a 2. We bring down a 0. Some of us already might notice what's happening. 3 goes into 26 times again. Okay, and even if you don't notice at the top, you should notice it at the bottom when all of a sudden you multiply and subtract and you get the exact same thing. Okay, so not only does it repeat up top, but it's going to repeat within your work under the problem. So really, this is repeating. So it's 0.6 repeating. Okay, now if you're someone that wants to be lazy and type these into the calculator, okay, keep in mind that's not helping you, and you don't get to use that for the test. I'll be able to tell. On this problem, the calculator would probably put 0.67, and that means that you did a calculator answer instead of actually doing the work yourself. Okay, so that is converting from a fraction to decimal. Pause the video, work on the problems that we did not do, and then when you're done, continue the video. Okay, so moving on to example 2, converting terminating decimals to fractions. Okay, now some of these are very basic, others are a little bit tricky. Now, right away, I'm just going to start with something you should know. 0.5 is 1/2. Okay, so this is 1/2. If you know it, you don't need to show the work. However, where this comes from is the tens place. Okay, wherever your decimal's at, that's what you divide by. So since 5 is in the tens place, we divide 5 by 10. Okay, and then we reduce that to 1/2. Okay, and that is the answer. We reduced it just by dividing by 5. Okay, and we do the same thing for other problems, like B. Okay, 0.45, it's in the hundreds place. So therefore, we're going to divide by 100. So I have 45 divided by 100. Now, if you can't figure out what to divide by, start with something small. Okay, 2, 3, and 5. The reason I skipped 4 is because if you can divide by 2, or if you can divide by 4, you could have divided by 2 already. So start with something small. So dividing these by 5, we'll get a 9 and a 20. Okay, and you can't reduce it from there. If you could have reduced it again, then you divide by something small again and get your answer. Okay. So again, just like last time, I'm going to save C just because it's a little tricky for when we go over it. Try it on your own. We've done all of these before. So pause the video, try it, and then start the video when you are ready to move on. Example 3, converting repeating decimals to fractions now. Okay. A couple of these are a little bit different. Now, there's this crazy fancy way of showing it, okay, which I'm going to kind of show you here. At some point, you'll need to know how to do it. For now, it's not like the end of the world that you know how to do it, okay? But what we do is we pretend that x is 0.3, and it's repeating, so we're going to put a few of them, and then that goes on forever, okay? And then what we're also going to do is we're going to pretend that 10x, okay, since 10x is very similar to this, if we multiply this by 10, we get 10x, okay? And then we're going to multiply this by 10. That just moves the decimal over. So what it turns into now is 3.333, and then we have our dot, 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 okay? And then what we're going to do with these two things is subtract them, okay? So 10x minus 1x is 9x equals, okay, and 3.333 minus 0.333, well, the 0.333 and so on goes away. So all you have left over is a 3, okay? And then you solve this equation, 9x equals 3. Well, we need to divide by the 9. The 9's cancel. Okay, 3/9, we can reduce that, and we get x equals 1/3. Now, that's the long way of doing this. There are shortcuts. First of all, a lot of us know that 0.3 repeating is 1/3. Okay, now at some point we actually made people show this. I'm not too concerned with that for now. When we get to the more complicated ones, you kind of have to do that sometimes. Okay, but 0.3 repeating is 1/3. Most of us know that. The other way of doing it is knowing that anytime you have one number repeating, you divide by 9 or 1/9. If you have two numbers repeating, you divide by 2 9s. Okay, so if I look at B, I have two numbers repeating, so I have 23/99. And then you think, can I reduce it? Well, no, I can't. So that is my answer. And that's it. Problem solved. Okay. Again, this is the long way, which at some point you'll need to know. But for now, I'm not too worried about it. Okay. So just understanding the concept that if one number is repeating, it's going to end up being divided by 9 and simplified or not. And if it's two numbers divided by 99, simplified or not. Okay. So that's it for the notes. Pause, finish these. Okay, and then we will go over stuff in class. That's it for this video, and I'll see you in class.